progress. Let's get going. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the Best Year Ever Masterclass. This is the second year I've been doing it because I find that, well, who wouldn't want to have their best year ever, right? Who doesn't want to have their best year ever? No one. So today, I want you to know that you are the youngest that you are ever going to be. So what are you going to do with that? Meaning 10 years from now, or even now, you look back on your life 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you're like, okay, I was so young then, I look so awesome, I look whatever. And then, but now, in 10 years from now, you're going to be like, I was so awesome then, I look so good, all the things, and I'm getting wiser. So now you get to plant the seeds for the next version of yourself. So what do you want to do this year so that you can continue to grow? Now, some of you have been inside the office and you've told me, I don't do New Year's resolutions, I don't do goals. And then I'll ask you, is there anything that you've wanted to change or that you want to, or you desire more of? And so I've gotten responses like that. So if you don't have any specific goals, then look at it as, what would I like to change in my life right now? What is it that I desire to call in more of? And we talked about focusing and where you put your focus. So if you're putting your focus on the things that you don't desire, or what you don't have, then how are you going to call in more of that? And so one example I hear often is they're like, oh, my neck hurts or my back hurts. So I want to focus on my back not hurting or healing, but it's not healing right now. Okay. We want to shift that to where are you currently healing and how can we increase that? So you say, my back doesn't, but my back's not hurting. Then I will say, what if you got a paper cut? What if you got a bruise? Do you believe your body can heal from that? And you go, yes, of course. What if you broke something? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so your body is already healing in certain ways and it has the capacity to heal. So we want to focus on where is it already healing and grow that aspect. Right? So one of the things that when we're making our goals, we want to focus on what is it that we already have, and then how can we grow more of that? All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to start with a little bit of a breathwork practice, just so that we can bring ourselves to the present moment, so that we can bring all our collective energies together, all right, so that we are here. The breath work is going to be 3 quick breaths in and 1 slow breath out. So it's going to be in, out. Right. We're not going to start yet. First, I want you to find a comfortable position. So this could be seated, this could be lying down. If you feel more comfortable with the camera off and you want to lie down, by all means, do that. Once you are seated or in a comfortable position, I want you to feel your body being supported by the chair, by the ground, wherever it is that you are. And I want you to remember that you always have a choice. If anything during this feels like it's too much, it's too fast, you can choose to slow your breath, you can choose to stop, you can choose to return to your natural rhythm or pause everything altogether. You got to listen to your body. What we want to work on this year is discernment, being able to hear the things that are coming through to you, and then also listen to your body to decide what's right for you. So if at any point you feel this is not for me right now, then you just stop. That's it. Okay? You don't need to ask any permission. Just stop. So gently close your eyes if you enjoy closing your eyes when you meditate, or soften your gaze if that's what works for you. Take a moment, come into your body, feel the surface beneath you, feel yourself here, now. You are at the threshold between what has been and what's coming. That is the present moment. So we're going to begin the breath. You're going to inhale quickly through the nose 3 times, and then exhale slowly through the mouth. And the breath is inhale quickly through the nose 3 times, and the exhale is slowly through the mouth. And you're going to go at your own pace. Inhale, low, long exhale. I want you to continue that breath as I continue to guide you through this. As you continue, let the inhales represent awareness gathering. Awareness for the past year that you've lived. And then let the exhale be a conscious release, a release of things that no longer serve you. Keep continuing with the rhythm. 3 inhales and a slow exhale. As you breathe, bring 2025 to mind, the year that just passed. Not the story of it, just the sense of the year. How did you feel about the year? And on each slow exhale, I want you to imagine releasing what no longer needs to come with you into this year. So any unfinished expectations, self-judgment, stress, disappointment, fear. You don't need to analyze it. Let your breath do the work. Again, 3 inhales, long exhale. Let your jaw start to soften. Let your shoulders drop. Let your body know that it doesn't have to carry everything forward. If any emotions arise, just allow them. Sometimes with our breath, we can release grief, gratitude, sadness, relief, anger. Your nervous system is just completing a cycle. And just continue breathing. 3 inhales. Slow exhale. Now gently shift your awareness towards this year, 2026. Not what you need to do, but who do you want to be? You're becoming. The future version of you that you want to pull forth and bring into the now. As you inhale, I want you to begin to invite some of the qualities rather than the goals that you desire. So maybe it's more clarity. Maybe it's more ease. Perhaps it's courage, compassion, presence, love, trust. Whatever you desire more of this year, inhale them into your body. On the inhale, you invite the qualities in that you desire. And then on the exhale, you allow your body to receive them. It's one thing to ask. The other piece is to receive. Let your body receive what you're calling in. Let your body and your nervous system learn that the future doesn't have to be rushed. You can enter this year calmly, intentionally, and with presence. Good. Take another couple breaths in at your own pace. And then you're going to slowly allow your breath to return to your natural rhythm. Stay in your body. Notice any shifts or changes. Perhaps there's more space. Perhaps it's quieter in your mind. Maybe there's more softness there. I want you to feel yourself standing at the doorway of this year. Lighter, clearer, more available for what's next. And then when you're ready, come back to now, come back to today, open your eyes. Okay. If you have any comments, you can always type it into the chat. Let me know what was your experience, if any emotions came up for you. Awesome, thanks. All right, loved it. Perfect. So today we have a super duper special guest that is going to be co-hosting. And it was interesting because at first, one of my New Year's resolutions was to invite more people onto my masterclasses. And at the beginning of the year, or at the end of the year, some of my patients have been telling me, oh, I went to this amazing goal setting workshop. Like, I went to this amazing goal setting workshop. I'm like, who did it? And they're like, Professor Nick. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw I'm doing the best year ever masterclass. I'm like, I have to invite him. Except I'm like, oh, he's so busy. I don't know if he'll say yes. I don't know. But I was like, I need the courage, because courage was one of the words that I wanted to speak into this year. So I sent him an Instagram message and I was like, okay, whatever happens, doesn't matter, because the courage was there already. And then Nick said yes. Oh, he's here. And I'm super excited for that. So he's going to be talking a little bit later, and then I'll give you a little bit of a background on him. But he's going to be talking about alignment, which is so perfect for this masterclass. So thank you, first of all, Nick, for accepting the invitation to come. All right, so what's possible for this year? Actually, anything is possible, because the sky isn't the limit. The limit is you. You're the limit. That's what the thing is. It is you that are the limit. And the limit is how much you are willing to feel, how much discomfort you're willing to put yourself in, how much fear, worry you have. That's the limit. Fear and worry are going to steal from you. That's what they do. They steal your future from you, because everything that you worry, the fears that you're worried about, most of them, they don't even happen, and they're not even happening to you right now. So the fear and the worry, do not let them steal from you. They'll steal your goals from you if you let them, and they will also steal the whole year. How many times have you gone through a whole entire year and been like, I don't even know what happened? You lost years and years and years. So my desire for you this year is to have the best year ever, the best. And I started this last year, this best year ever masterclass last year. And despite, you can look at all the focus on the good, or you can focus on things that you'd like to do better. And I could say it was the worst year ever in certain aspects. Most of you know that I lost my mom last year. And that was probably the hardest thing ever. And yet, when I looked at some of the other opportunities I had, I got to take my daughter traveling on a work thing, and she took her first train ride, and she took her first plane ride, and we went to the Moncton Zoo, and all these things. I could go in every single month, I could point out some of the best moments of the year. So you can choose what you focus on, even amidst, the worst year, it was still one of the best year ever because I chose at the beginning of the year and I decided that it was going to be the best year ever. And then, of course, this year is going to be even better because, again, it's the decision. I decided this is going to be the best year ever. And then everything that happens is going to support it. I created an identity that this is my belief, and everything that happens is going to follow that. So right now I'm planning. So yeah, of course it's going to be the best year. I'm planning. We had this masterclass planned and Nick's coming on it. Oh, great. That's going to mean it's the best year ever. And then we're doing this in, some of the exercise goals that I have. And oh, I'd like to learn this in jiu-jitsu. Awesome. So this is going to be the best year ever. How could it not be? And then everything compounds. It's compounding one thing on top of another. When you look at the things in your life that you're most proud of, it's not, I asked for this and I got it right away. It's like you planned for it, you desired it, you thought about it, you like took action steps on it, and then it came and you're like, oh my gosh. Because it was all those little moments compounded one on top of the other that made it the experience that you desired. For Tahira, who also does jiu-jitsu with me, when you get a little stripe on your belt, it's a piece of tape, but it literally represents blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. So every time one of my friends gets a little piece of tape, or my kids get a tape, or I get a tape, it's like a huge celebration because of what it took to get there. Every single step, every single match. So decide that this is going to be your year. And then plan that out. Because I don't want you to look back at this year and be one of those years that you're not going to remember. There are years that you don't remember. This is not going to be one if you decide it's not going to be. Because when you look back in your life, we actually remember moments, right? The first time you did this, the first time that your child walked, the first time that your child rolled over, the day you got married, whatever has happened, the moment your mother passed away. You live your life in moments, just one moment, the moment when, right? And the moments that surprise you that you're going to remember. There's going to be moments that take your breath away. There's going to be moments that also, you can create intentionally. So let's create some moments together. Create this year for yourself. All right. So typically when people have New Year's resolutions, when do you think they stop doing them by? What's your guess? You can write it in the chat. First 3 weeks. Yeah. Pretty soon after, mid-January, pretty much. There was someone who even told me like it lasts a week. And I was like, how can that be that a New Year's resolution only lasts a week? So we're going to talk about it from a nervous system point of view because that's my jam. All right. So change is difficult from a nervous system point of view because it is outside your comfort zone. So your nervous system is designed to keep you safe, right? Your safety is your comfort zone. So if your comfort zone is, I like to sit in front of the TV at night, eating my bonbons, and that's my comfort zone, then that's what your nervous system thinks, oh, that's going to keep me safe, right? When you say, I'm going to get up and exercise, your nervous system goes, danger, 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 sound the alarms because that's not safe. That's outside your comfort zone. So what's it going to do? It's going to create stories for you to try and get you back into your comfort zone. So maybe you go to the gym the first day and you're like, yes, I made it to the gym. And then the next day you get up to go to the gym and your body is like, yeah, what if you hurt yourself? What if you step on the ice? What if you slip and fall? And then you're like, oh, I can't go to the gym anymore, right? And you're like back on the couch, back into your comfort zone, back into your safety. The nervous system was designed as a system to keep you safe. And so everything that you're doing right now is for safety. It's for predictability, for stability. And outside of it, danger, 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 danger. And what happens is it sets off your sympathetic nervous system. So your fight, flight, freeze response. The sympathetic nervous system is activated at the amygdala, the lower part of the brain. So that's for running, for trying to get away, all the things. Your higher cortical think centers, so for reason, for logic, for intuition, creativity, things that we probably want access to, right? Not gonna have them when you are in your sympathetic nervous system. So the body says, just run. But we want the other part, the other piece. We want more breath, more blood to flow to the higher portions of our brain. And so when you decide to change what is in your comfort zone, it's not going to go there if your nervous system is not also on board with it. Right? The morning you decide to wake up to go to your class, all the voices in your head are going to convince you to stay into bed. Stay in bed. Stay where you are. Don't get up. Don't go exercise. What if you get hurt? That's what we are designed to do in terms of the comfort zone, which is why it's difficult to create change. But is it impossible? Of course not, because you can decide to change. You've all known somebody who has changed something in your life, even yourself. And so it is possible. And what we need to do, though, is to increase your capacity for your nervous system to handle more, to hold more pressure. There is a difference between pressure and stress. Stress can activate the nervous system, but pressure, or some people call it good stress, eustress, EU stress, spelt EU stress, is your ability to be able to hold that. So how can I hold the good stress? Because there will be stress that breaks you, and then there will be stress that you break through, right? And you come to a different version of yourself. You are activated by it. But you don't want to go into that sympathetic nervous system. So we need to grow your capacity to handle more. And that's actually one of the things I love most about learning jiu-jitsu this past year is your capacity to hold pressure. Literally, because most people that I train with are bigger than me. So, if they sit on me, that's a lot of pressure, right? And then also mentally. Can you hold the pressure? I'm constantly asking myself, can I hold this pressure? Can I hold it? Yes, of course I can. And then we go. If it's pressure, it does not cause me stress. If it's stress, then my nervous system kicks in, or my sympathetic nervous system kicks in. So ask yourself, can I hold the pressure of it? And then you'll have to answer that yourself. Can you hold the pressure? So a big part of the thing, a big piece of it is your capacity for your nervous system to handle more. We need to make it so that we stretch the capacity so that the same thing that used to bother you no longer does. So that you can cut down the time, cut down the timelines. So let's say, for example, you only experience two emotions, anger and sadness. Something happens, you respond with anger or sadness, anger or sadness. If we stretch your capacity to feel more, so you have anger, sadness, gratitude, joy, yada, 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 something happens, then you have the whole box of crayons to choose from. When you're coloring and you only have 8 crayons, well, that's not so fun. But you can have 64, and then you can color a whole entire picture that, whatever it is that you desire. My kids love to do arts and crafts, so we've got the 64 markers. Actually, we have way more than that. We have the entire box, but then you can create anything you desire. Because there's a different response in your nervous system if something it causes you anger, then let's say you're annoyed, right? If you're angry, someone cuts you off in traffic and you're angry, what are you going to do? I'm going to go and chase after them. I would not, but some people do, right? And that's anger. But if they were just annoyed, they might be like, ugh, and that's it. So if your nervous system has the capacity to hold more emotions and different emotions, you will have a different response in the moment. Your capacity to respond will be different. So you cannot regulate the emotions that you do not allow yourself to feel. That's the key. Emotion, like nervous system regulation, is not about not feeling something. It is that you fully experience your experience. So if you don't allow yourself to feel the anger, if you don't allow yourself to feel the shame, the guilt, and the disappointment, you won't be able to regulate it. So you need to be able to feel all of it and know that you're okay. So it's not about not feeling or not letting something trigger you. It is, I am fully experiencing this. Oh, look at that. There's anger. Oh, look, I'm pissed off. Oh, look, I'm this. This is what I'm experiencing. I can feel it all. And I can hold this pressure. I can hold the pressure of disappointment. I can hold the pressure of not getting what I desire in the moment that I desire it. One of the things that we do is we set time limits on things, like on our life. So we'll say, okay, by age 25, I should be a gazillionaire. I should have 25 houses, 20 cars, and be married with 82 kids, whatever it is that, and living on a yacht, of course. And if any of you have a yacht, please invite me because I would like to come. But we set these goals, and then when you don't achieve them, you're like, oh, well, I'm just not, good enough, or I'm not worthy of the goals, or whatever it is that we tell ourselves. And the funny thing is, it's actually the time. So let's say you wanted to be a millionaire. And if I go, okay, a millionaire by tomorrow, you're like, ooh, your nervous system's like, but oh, what about over a lifetime? What if the entire, let's say you work for 40 years? Huh. Well, if I added up my salary for 40, yeah, maybe that's possible. And then somebody will be like, okay, I want to meet the person of my dreams by tomorrow. They're like, oh, over a lifetime? Oh, well, that's possible. Right? So we stretch not the goals, but your becoming. We look at it on the whole lifeline. Will you be able to achieve every single goal that you desire tomorrow in the time that you desire it? No. But over a lifetime, you'll get a lot more accomplished than if you shorten it down and put that extra pressure. Nick says, I find the universal law of time is true in all things, yet it will not let you have what has not been worked for or what you're not ready for either. Absolutely. And we don't design the time. We can only control certain things. And it's not that you don't sit here and go, okay, $1 million fall out of the sky. It doesn't work like that either. You need to take action in alignment, which Nick is going to talk about, with your desires. And then the piece that I'm going to go into will be in the identity that you desire. So bringing up identity piece. All right, so I'm going to introduce my friend Nick. And let me just pull up one of the things that he was telling me about. Okay, so what makes Nick so awesome is that he has 24 years of experience in the martial arts industry, and he helps gyms flourish both financially and mentally, emotionally. He just looks at the whole picture of where they are, his clients, and where they want to go. And his journey has taken him through every single aspect of the business, from the front desk to the owner's office. And there's no role in the martial arts business that he does not know, inside and out. Where he shines, though, is his business coaching. So he coaches Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools. And he uses his business savvy and his love for his martial arts to help others succeed in the different skills that's required and live the life that they deserve. So when he's not teaching on the mats or not creating instructional series or coaching Martial Arts Academy, his passion and his industry is second to none. So that's why we love Nick. So I present Nick.
Wow, thank you. That was pretty epic. I'm glad that's taped. I'll have to put that as my walkout, my walkout intro. Nice to meet everybody. This is awesome so far. So I just want to say thanks, Amanda, for having this and inviting me. And I really enjoyed the exercises and everything you're saying, like I'm right with you there on that. And it actually ties into what we're going to be going over today. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a slide presentation. And this is on a course that I teach. I don't just teach it to martial artists. I've actually had other groups start hiring me, like other business groups, realtors, because this, understanding, is for this relationship management, if you will, is for clients that you may have. When I present it, I'm talking about three tribes. I'm talking about the tribe of yourself. I'm talking about the tribe of your family. I'm talking about the tribe of your friends, or in most cases, because I'm brought in by martial arts schools, I'm talking about the gym tribe. And a lot of people don't understand, like, how do I know if somebody fits in my tribe? How do I tell, like, if I keep somebody in my tribe, or how do I get them out of my tribe? And today, we're just going to be going over what we call the overlap and offset um, concept. And that helps you see, like, okay, like, how do I know somebody is with me? And how do I know somebody's not with me? And what's the formula for that? So just give me a second and I'll share my screen. All right. Okay, one second there, guys. Just got to pull it up and make sure it's on the current page. Okay. Um, all right. Okay. Yeah, some of the pages has not been showing up great, but it should suffice for today. Okay, so I'm actually going to start here and I'm going to change the view. Um, just one second. Oh, there we go. Trying to get it from there you go. Okay, well that's loading up. No, that's not my apologies, guys. Just trying to get this thing to work properly. I'm not the best at technology, better at okay, there we go. Okay, Amanda, can you see this screen? We're good to go? Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna hammer through this because we don't have a lot of time, and the overlap offset concept is probably the most relevant. One thing I did want to touch on is I usually say these power phrases at the start, and I'm just going to cite one or two of them here. Um, and one, Amanda was talking about pressure. And one of the phrases we cover, before we start this course is we say, without pressure, there's no power, because a lot of times in our life we say things like, oh my God, like this stuff only happens to me. Why me? Does this happen to anybody else? Like things like this. I'm sure we're all thinking of several different things, that we've thought about that. But the strongest way to look at it from a mental strength perspective is like, hey man, like when there's pressure in my life, that's where the power is, because nothing worth having is easy to get. And I know for martial arts, that's where like our heart lies. We know that when it's hard, that's where we're becoming the strongest version of ourselves. So I'm citing that right now because, Amanda had cited that earlier, and I thought that that was worth hearing. Um, Another thing that I think is worth hearing is movement is mandatory. So if stuff's going right in my life, it's going right, I gotta move, because the only way it's going to keep going right is if I keep moving. Okay. And if stuff's going wrong in my life, I have to move. I gotta move, because even if I were to move backwards, teaches me I shouldn't be there again. Okay. I need to keep moving to get moving forward again. If something's going wrong and I just stop moving, I die for sure. Okay. So movement is mandatory. And that's another power phrase that we usually go over. Um, Another one is everyone is doing the best they can. And I would argue with Justin, because this course was actually a book written by Justin Garcia. And I would argue with him that everybody's not doing the best they can. And, I would argue about
Hello? Oh, I think we lost Nick, or I lost Nick.
Okay, I thought it was just me. Okay.
No, I can't hear Nick. Okay, let's see where he went. I've never had to find someone. Okay. Hmm. See. Oh, there. I think he's out, so he will come back in. All right, good to know I wasn't the only one. Let's give him a second to get in. Tell me while we're waiting for Nick, tell me your biggest aha so far. What has come up for you?
Everything around pressure. Like, can I hold this pressure? Without pressure, there's no power. And just like rephrasing that in my head as like, because I have like complex PTSD. So for me, anxiety and stress is like everything is stressful. So to
Yeah.
like put it in a way that, is it pressure? Can I handle this pressure? Is it something that I've faced before rather than, am I going to die from this? Which is always my first thought. And the without pressure, there's no power as well. Like reframing it in that sense that was a really big moment for me.
Awesome. Anyone else like that? You can't regulate what you don't allow yourself to feel. Yes, that's a big one. Big one. And a lot of people that do nervous system regulation, the challenge is that they're like, nope, just something comes up. Let's say they're triggered. And they're like, nope, don't want to feel it because I'm triggered. It makes me triggered. But then you can't regulate that. You need to be able to hold all of it or hold more of what you already desire. Into group. Oh, I'm going to keep an eye on where Nick is. He will come back whenever the timing is right. But yes, the pressure piece was huge for me because when I thought everything was stress, then my body reacted as if it was all stress. But it's not stress. Even when I'm building muscles and I'm at the gym, it's not stress, right? Like I'm putting stress on my body, but it's discomfort, it's pressure. If I don't say the word stress, then because stress triggers something in your body, you're like, it's stress. So your body's like, we'll do this cascade of events that happens. However, if you call it something different, oh, this is pressure, you're like, all right, this is pressure. This is different than stress. Okay, let me feel into this. And then you can ask yourself, you get that little space between your stimulus and your response. And that allows you to choose the outcome that you desire. So the bigger the pause between the stimulus and the response, you get more decision. So if you decide, okay, it's not stress, then your body goes, oh, if it's not stress, what is it then? And then you go, oh, it's pressure. And you're like, wow, okay, how do I handle pressure? That's different from stress. Same with, okay, what is this? Is this pain or is this discomfort? Pain, I don't know how much pain I want to take, right? Like, let's say even physical pain. And yet, we have the capacity to hold a lot of pain. We can give birth. There's a lot of pain involved in that, right? If you've ever had that wonderful experience of doing so. So your body is capable of it. It is just how much can I hold? And is it pain or is it discomfort? Because pain is different from discomfort. If I'm uncomfortable, okay, how long am I willing to be uncomfortable for? What is it because I'm not wanting to experience an emotion? Oh, okay. Is it why am I uncomfortable? And the majority of the time, it's an emotion thing. I do not want to experience, I don't want to compete, let's say, because I don't want to Look. Oh, he says he's in the waiting room. How do I get him out of the waiting room? Ah, I see. Okay, he's back in. All right, you're back. Yay.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. That kind of sucked for a second, eh? All right. All right, let's see. I'll pull this back up again. Yeah, that was frustrating for me. I'm not even sure what happened there. Okay. Can we see my screen? Okay. So yeah, everyone is doing the best they can. And I would argue that with Justin. I'd say my dad didn't do the best he could. And he would say, well, he made you a better version than him. So he did the best he could with the tools that he had. And I argued with him. I said, but that didn't mean it didn't hurt. I said, well, he said to me, I didn't say it didn't hurt. I just said he did the best he could with what he had. And he said, you have to understand, Nick, that that's the strongest position to take. And I said, that doesn't mean it was right. He's like, I didn't say it was right. He goes, I'm just telling you that that's the strongest way to look at it because you're better than he is. And I was like, and that was hard for me to hear, because of the relationship I had with him growing up. All right, moving on. So, in relationships with people, a lot of times we don't understand why people aren't where we're at. And we get mad. We say, why can't they see what I can see? When the truth is, we just got to get them to the next rung on their ladder. So many of you on the screen might be, in your 40s, might be in your 50s, and you get mad at the 30-year-old or the 20-year-old, why they're dumb. Like, hey, like, why don't you get this? Like, what don't you understand? Why can't you understand my perspective? But the truth is, in our 40s or 50s, because I'm into my 40s now as well, we're up here on the ladder. We're on the red rung. So what's the view? The view's different than where the 30-year-old, even the 30-year-old, the 30-year-old might be here, 40-year-old here. Okay. But for the 30-year-old, they can't see what we can see. Okay. And for us to expect them to see what we can see is unreasonable. So when we're dealing with people, we need, especially difficult people, we need to ask ourselves, what's the next rung on their ladder? Because the next rung is always within reach. Okay. Maybe they can't see what we can see right now. However, I know that they can see one step closer to being what I could see, but they'll never climb without pressure. And that's where power comes from, the pressure, right? Because you can only climb with the pressure, but we can only climb one rung at a time. Okay. And the good news is that the next rung is always within reach. So that was also my power phrases as well, but I thought that this diagram would be more helpful. So tribalnomics was developed by Justin Garcia. It identifies formulas guiding unconscious emotional decisions without considering tribe. Such decisions often jeopardize our legacy. Example, emotional reactions leading to destructive outcomes. I'm sure all of us on the screen could think of a time, maybe, when we said something out of anger that was destructive in our life. And as we become older, we learn to like align ourselves or feel when we're pulled offside to like, maybe I shouldn't say something right now. Or it's 10 p.m. at night. I'm not going to have this discussion with you right at this moment. That's my cue. I don't have any important discussions past 8 p.m. We're keeping it light. We're telling jokes. I'm not delving into my life's meaning at that time. Okay. Key concept is a tribe builds legacy. So your tribe of yourself, your tribe of your family, your tribe of your friends, maybe tribe of the martial arts gym you're a part of. It all ties to legacy. A strong legacy requires deliberate, functional decisions. The key to know if your tribe ties to your legacy is you ask yourself, in them, do I see me? So what do I mean by that? Well, in them, the reason you join a tribe, friend tribe, okay, relationship tribe with the person you're in a relationship with, or a, community gym tribe, is because in them you see similar things that you see inside yourself. Or the other reason is in them you see something they have you would like to have. So people who join our schools join because the way we make them feel, they're like, man, these people are like me. They're cool, they're nice, they're super kind. And I want to learn jujitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I want to gain that skill from them. But those are the two reasons. And you should never sacrifice for a tribe you don't see yourself in. Okay. So every tribe you're a part of, like we've all have friends we've outgrown. Maybe like for me growing up, a lot of my friends were losers, and when I began down that martial artist path, I had to make a choice because I was training to become a professional athlete. And I couldn't do that, by still hanging around with them. And in them, I no longer saw myself. I no longer saw the choices that they were making aligning with mine. And I didn't want their choices to be my legacy. Because for the tribes we're a part of, we give the most valuable thing, the only thing we cannot make more of, and that's time. And we should never sacrifice for a tribe we don't see ourselves in. So I'm sure everybody's looking at their friend tribe or their family tribe or certain members of their family tribe, and they're like, man, like we're really just related, but I don't see, anything in me, him, that person. I'm not telling everybody to go home and cut everybody out or get divorced or anything like that. But I'm telling you to look at what's the legacy, and in them, do I see me? Or do I see something I want to be? And that's why I'm aligned with them, because those are really the only two answers. Okay. All right. So as we move on here, we talked about in them do I see me? Because a tribe is a group alliance connected to legacy, and a legacy is united by a mission. So we have a mission of ourselves. We have a mission with our significant other. We have a mission with our children. We have a mission with our friends. Okay. And we need to understand what those individual missions are. And you know what? That principle is the same across those tribes, but the answer is different. So that my mission with myself and the mission with my partner in my life is different. The mission with my partner and the mission with my children is also different. The mission with my friends and the mission with my children is very different. The mission with my martial arts school I train in is also different. But no matter what in your life, every tribe you're a part of has a mission. Okay. What are examples of tribes in your life? Right now, we've said tribe of self, tribe of family, tribe of friends, martial arts tribe, and what do we sacrifice for them? Generally, for our tribes, we sacrifice many things, but the most important thing we sacrifice is time. Now, key concept, overlap, offset, energy, and this is the main thing we're talking about today. Formulas for understanding all your relationships. Okay. Overlap, shared values and goals. So me and Amanda, what's our overlap? We both do jujitsu. She trains on my team. She trains there. I see her. We train together. We share time and space together. That's our overlap with each other. Our offset, it says factors that weaken loyalty and commitment. That's not necessarily true. Our offset is just what's not in the overlap. Okay. So like Amanda's a doctor and I'm a consultant, and I'm sure she has, a family that she needs to take care of and tend to, as do I, and that's the things that makes us different. But the overlap is where our relationship flourishes. And the more time Amanda and I put into each other, the stronger the overlap becomes. Like, for instance, her asking me to be here today, me and her communicating before, putting energy into each other, made our overlap greater. We became closer through doing that. We can only do that if both of us are putting energy in. Does that make sense to everybody? Can my tribe be for everyone? And I think this is an answer that's important to everyone. The answer is no. And I find that the world nowadays is trying to like force feed everybody is a part of your tribe. Hey, guess what? The tribe of myself, I don't need to explain or bring anyone into. The tribe of my relationship is not for everyone. The tribe of my family is not for everyone. And the tribe of my friends is not for everyone. And that's just the way it works. And people saying otherwise is just, it is untrue. Okay. So my tribe, can my tribe be for everyone? The answer is no. Unpopular answer, but the answer is still no. Now we're going to talk about overlap. So I'll use the relationship piece because I find that that's the easiest thing for people to relate to. Okay. Thanks, Charles. Thanks for chiming in there. Um, when you first meet somebody, okay, when you first meet somebody, let's say you go out on a date with someone, you only have 10% overlap. Let's say, I'll use, I am speaking to someone in my life. We were introduced from friends. We went and spent time together. Man, we only have this much overlap. You know what our overlap is? Your friend is my friend, and they introduced us, and now we are going out to eat something together to get to know each other. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody's got that, right? You don't have very much of an overlap. That doesn't mean you're together. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything. So, like when you first meet somebody, you only have a 10% overlap with them. You're introduced to them. We don't know if we have the same vision. And I'm sure everybody agrees with that. And I'm sure, well, most people here, if not everybody, has been in a relationship at some time or another. And you think back to that first time, you're like, yeah, I didn't know, I didn't think I was going to like them, until, you know, we put more energy into them. So the energy we want to get everybody in our life really that we meet, if they're worth keeping, which we're going to go over that formula for us. We want to get from a 10% overlap to a 50% overlap. Okay. Because that's the minimum commitment we need from the people in our lives to have a strong relationship. So everybody starts here, but you can't stay here. Okay. Everybody starts here. So in the relationship, you went on the first date. It went good. You think it went good. It felt good. You think, they were smiling, they were happy, laughing at your corny jokes for me and the little joker. Okay. So they're laughing at my terrible jokes and, they like my wit. And I'm like, okay, great. So for me to get to the 50% overlap, I text, I put energy in, I say, hey, I had a really nice time. Do you want to go out on a second date? Okay. Do you want to spend more time together? And if she says, yeah, that means I'm putting in energy to get to the 50% and she's putting in energy. That creates more overlap. Does everybody understand? Well, you might say, well, Nick, I put in energy into this guy or girl and we tried again and they were crazy. And I have an answer for that. Okay. Because just because I put in energy, just because she puts in energy, that doesn't mean we hit the 50% overlap. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, okay, well, how do we know? Well, is our mission the same? Okay, well, Nick, you're using funny words, mission. What does that mean? Make it easier for me. Are your morals and values the same? Okay. So energy is a requirement. I put in energy. She puts in energy. And I believe in being a good person. I believe in being a sweet person. I believe in helping others. I love my kids, and she believes in the same in her life. So I'm putting in energy. She's putting in energy. The morals and values align. Then that means we are good to go. We've checked all the boxes to be at a 50-50 overlap. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. 5 minutes, not a lot of time. Okay. Hammer through it. All right. So we get them to the 50% overlap. Now, what if the morals and values don't align? Well, they stay in the 10%. That's it. It's like because they can't cross over to you because your morals and values and your mission don't align. Okay, I'll give you an example. You have that one friend, who brought their buddy in and we're putting in energy to them, but they are just not behaving like the rest of the group. They're being weird. They're doing stuff that's underhanded, stuff that doesn't resonate with the group. Well, that's a sign that we got to get rid of that person from this group because they don't fit here because it doesn't align. Does that make sense? Now, if we were to look at friends, okay, friends, in life, the 80% overlap is like your best friend, okay? Because you can't have too many best friends because that doesn't make sense. Your best friend is the person you talk to several times a week. Your casual friend or just regular friend is a person you talk to maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. And with that best friend, you maybe have 80% overlap. Sometimes in your relationship, you have an 80% overlap. Okay. But the minimum commitment is 50%. 80% and 50% doesn't mean like one is better than the other. It just means that there is more overlap due to time. So you have very few people that are at this amount of overlap. You have more energy in. So, like if you have kids, when do you have 80%, sometimes 100% overlap with your kids? Well, when they're born, because you're like, don't die. I need to keep them alive, right? So you have that 80 to 100% overlap with them. But at the same time, like maybe you have 50% overlap with your other child, but that other one needs the more time because that's a stage of life that they're in. Okay. So minimum commitment is 50%, but in some relationships, you're going to see 80% overlap. And then the last one, the worst slash best, okay, only can be done short period of time is 100% overlap. 100% overlap with the child, again, is like when they're first born. You got to take care of them. You can't leave them. They're attached to you, okay? But if you don't start to move back, if you don't start to move to the 80%, if you don't start to move to the 50%, then it's kind of weird, like you wouldn't treat your 10-year-old like you treated your baby, right? Like holding them all the time, wiping their bum, changing their diaper, hopefully not wearing diapers at 10, okay? That would be unhealthy. But again, if you look at it in terms of a spouse, imagine you're spending 100% of your time with your spouse. You begin to lose your identity, okay? And that becomes unhealthy. So the circles not only move up, but they can also move back as well. And you need to track overlap and offset through all of your relationships. So that is the concept of overlap and offset. To be honest, is like a really rapid explanation, but basically new people in your life start at 10 and they're not your people yet until you get them to the 50-50. What do you got to do? You need to put in energy. They need to put in energy. And then we got to check their morals and values and their mission. Is it aligned with me or not? If it's not, then they don't move over to that category. And that's a signal for us to let them go. And that's okay because, like I explained at the beginning, my tribe is not for everyone. 80-20 is for the people closer to us in our life that spend more time with us. And 50-50 and 80-20 is where everybody needs to be. Okay. Either one of those. 100% overlap can happen for a short period of time, but not a long period of time because you'll lose your identity. So that is my short explanation of overlap and offset. I hope that helps you. I've never had relationships explained to me this way, but it helps you see how somebody moves up and how somebody moves up.
Thank you so much for that. That's great because it's a practical way to see whether somebody is in alignment with you and your mission and what you stand for, and also the identity or the version you are that you are right now, because we switch identities along the way, right? So there was a day that you were not a martial artist, and then a day that you became one. And so that identity shift requires new circles and new tribes and new missions and everything to be built. And so then there's another version of you that shifts into, let's say, the father version of you, right? And so that becomes that identity piece. You get to look at all the different circles and say, okay, where do these people fit? And are they still in alignment with my mission and who I desire to be? So it's a really great framework to check your alignment, to be like, okay, for this version that I currently am or who I want to become, who do I want to surround myself with? because you will get energy from internally, from yourself, from your internal motivation, but also the people around you, right? And you want to be with people who are going to move you towards the version of yourself that you desire to be. If I desire to be a better martial artist, then I'm going to surround myself with people who are martial artists, who have the same mission as me, or who desire the same identity piece that I want to help cultivate. And so that's a really great example. So thank you for that. And one thing that Nick talked about with the ladder, with the different rungs, that you only need the next piece, it's also because with each step you take, you incorporate that step into your new identity. And so you can only see the next rung ahead. If I'm going up the stairs and I'm only going up to the next step, I don't need to see what's on the second floor because I'm not going to be that person yet, right? I'm only the person that's taken the next step. So from there, and as I've incorporated that step on into who I am, then I can take the next step. But there's no point, trying to plan 25 million steps ahead because I don't know who I'm going to be then. I don't know if I still desire what I desire right now then because I'm a different person. You only need to see the next rung on the ladder. That makes sense? So your identity is who you desire to be. It is your belief. It is that you matter. The first thing that we want in our identity is to know that we matter, because if we matter, our goals matter, what we do matter, what we eat matters, how we move matters, everything matters. But if we don't matter, then none of that matters. So the key piece in the identity is I matter in some way. So thank you, everybody, for coming to this masterclass. We have a hard stop time because I got to go pick up my kids from school today. But Nick, thank you so much. That was a really great example. And I love to see the practical ways of how to assess the different areas of my life. And if you guys have any questions, by all means, you can email them. I'm going to be sending out, there were 25 people who registered for today's masterclass. So thank you for coming in person. And for those that are watching on the replay, Happy New Year. And you can email me your questions. So if you have any questions or things that you want more explanation on, just send it to me and I'll get the questions to Nick, or I'll answer whatever pieces that are for me. All right. Have a wonderful, fabulous day, and may you make this your best year ever. Bye.
Bye.